Today is December 18th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It's a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today at the Big Book, we're going to continue our journey through Chapter 11, A Vision for You. We'll be reading page 152. And at the 12 and 12, we're finishing tradition number 9 by reading the entire page of 175. And we'll read today's 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life is good over here. I'm just so grateful to be awake today, to be alive and to be sober. So let's get to the good stuff. Alright, my friends, so if you recall from yesterday's reading at the Big Book, on the top of page 152, the top paragraph, we left off on 3 kind of sad sentences here, talking about what it's like toward the end. It says here, then he will know loneliness such as few do. He will be at the jumping off place. He will wish for the end. But there's hope, so let's go ahead and read the rest of page 152. We have shown you how we got out from under. You say, yes, I'm willing. But am I to be consigned to a life where I shall be stupid, boring, and glum, like some of the righteous people I see? I know I must get along without liquor, but how can I? Have you a sufficient substitute? Yes, there is a substitute, and it is vastly more than that. It is a fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous. There you'll find release from care, boredom, and worry. Your imagination will be fired. Life will mean something at last. The most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Thus we find the fellowship, and so will you. Well, how's that to come about, you ask? Where am I to find these people? You're going to meet these new friends in your own community. Near you, alcoholics are dying helplessly like people in a sinking ship. If you live in a large place, there are hundreds. High and low, rich and poor. These are future fellows of Alcoholics Anonymous. Among them, you will make lifelong friends. You will be bound to them with new and wonderful ties. For you will escape disaster together, and you will commence shoulder to shoulder your common journey. Then you will know what it means to give of yourself, that others may survive and rediscover life. You'll learn the full meaning of love thy neighbor as thyself. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Tradition 9. AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create special boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Page 175. Just as the aim of each AA member is personal sobriety, the aim of our services is to bring sobriety within reach of all who want it. If nobody does the group's chores, if the area's telephone rings unanswered, if we do not reply to our mail, then the AA as we know it would stop. Our communication lines with those who need our help would be broken. AA has to function, but at the same point, it must avoid those dangers of great wealth, prestige, and entrenched power which necessarily tempt other societies. Though Tradition 9 at first seems to deal with a purely practical matter, in its actual operation it discloses a society without organization, animated only by the spirit of service, a true fellowship. "24 hours a day, December 18th. AA thought for the day. Unless we have the key of faith to unlock the meaning of life, we're lost. We do not choose faith because it is one way for us, but because it is the only way. Many have failed and will fail, for we cannot live victoriously without faith. We are at a sea without a rudder or an anchor, drifting on the sea of life. Wayfarers without a home. Our souls are restless until they find rest in God. Without faith, our lives are a meaningless succession of unrelated happenings, without rhyme or reason. Have I come to rest in faith? Meditation for the day. This vast universe around us, including this wonderful earth on which we live, was once perhaps only a thought in the mind of God. The nearer astronomers and physicists get to the ultimate composition of all things, the nearer the universe approaches a mathematical formula, which is thought. The universe may be the thought of the great thinker. We must try to think God's thoughts after him. We must try to get guidance from the divine mind as to what his intention is for the world, and what part we can have in carrying out that intention. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may not worry over the limitations of my human mind. I pray that I may live as though my mind were a reflection of the divine mind. Daily Reflection, December 18th. Honesty with newcomers. Tell him exactly what happened to you. Stress the spiritual feature freely. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 93. The marvel of AA is that I tell only what happened to me. I don't waste time offering advice to potential newcomers, for if advice worked, nobody would get to AA. All I have to do is show what has brought me sobriety and what has changed my life. If I fail to stress the spiritual feature of AA's program, I'm being dishonest. The newcomer should not be given a false impression of sobriety. I am sober only through the grace of my higher power, and that makes it possible for me to share with others. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading, and some beautiful stuff today. Oh my goodness. I love the big book reading here. I love how it answers its own questions in today's reading. I know I must get along without liquor, but how can I? Have you a sufficient substitute now? When I was drinking, I was afraid to give it up. Alcohol was once my best friend. My go-to move when I was stressed or when I wanted to feel confident and all these things, right? And I thought to myself, I don't even know who I am without alcohol. But there is a sufficient substitute. On page 152, yes, there's a substitute, and it's vastly more than that. It is a fellowship in AA. There you will find release from care, boredom, and worry. Your imagination will be fired, and the way I take that is like it's going to blast off. That could be a completely wrong interpretation, but I don't know. It gives me comfort because when I first started going to the fellowships and I heard all the similarities, I was amazed at how honest people were. I had never been to a group where people that were that brutally honest, and I'm talking about they're sharing some deep, personal stories, you know? And they're happy. That was the main thing. They were happy, sharing some pretty dark stuff that they went through. But over time, I realized the reason they're happy is because they're sober. They're not dry. They're not just not drinking. They're sober. They're happy. They're at peace most days. And they've been saved from that destruction of alcohol. They're righting their wrongs. And if I were a betting man, they look in the mirror and they don't hate who they see anymore. When I witnessed that in the fellowship, that was a game changer for me. That's what got me through the doors and wanted me to keep coming back. And then the program itself, the steps, the big book, that's what helped me to live the kind of life where I could too look in the mirror and not hate who I see. So yeah, talk about a sufficient substitute. I did not know who I was. And sometimes in my life, I can still lose touch of who I am. If I'm not working the steps, or if I'm slacking on my meetings, or I'm not slacking on my praying, the things I've been taught. But I'm telling you, I've said it many times, and I don't want to preach or anything like that, but sobriety is so much better. than what I was doing before. It's so good for me to look in the mirror and not hate who I see anymore. So with that, my friends, that's all the rambling I'll do today. I hope you all have a great one. Please know I don't speak on behalf of AA or NA or Al-Anon or any other sect. I am just a friend in this lifeboat of recovery, reading these books, and I am so grateful you're with me. Before we give it another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.